What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Ryan Hafey with Hafey Digital here. It is Vlogust Day 3, and today we're going to do things a little bit differently. So as I mentioned briefly in yesterday's vlog, this weekend, especially today, tomorrow, and also a little bit on Monday, are going to be very busy days. I've got a boxing show I've got to work tonight. I've got another boxing show I've got to work tomorrow, get a little rest on Sunday, and then on Monday, I have some more things to do. So just in general, the next few days are going to be pretty busy, which means that throws a little bit of a wrench in the Vlogust flow. So we're gonna do things differently today, and instead of kind of taking you throughout my day, because I need to record this and get it out pretty quickly, we're gonna play a little game of What's on Ryan's Shelf? That's right, in this video we're going to be going over some of the things I have on this shelf here. This shelf in particular, screw these other shelves, we'll get to them in another day. By the way, if I look a little sweaty, it's because I just finished my morning run and I'm still kind of like cooling down a little bit, so don't mind my glisten, it's just a glow, don't worry about it. So without further ado, let's get started with the lenses here. So this is an assortment of my lens selection. What we have here, this first lens, let me turn the mic around so you can actually hear me. So this first lens is a Sigma 19mm lens. It's one of the first lenses I bought for my Sony camera. It's okay, it's a prime lens, 19mm, 2.8 aperture. It's pretty cheap, just like I think it's just a few $100. Nice little lens if you're walking around, better for photography. Not so great for video because of the autofocus issues. It kind of like hunts and jitters a little bit when it autofocuses, but a good first wide angle lens if you're looking for one. This lens here, this is the Rokinon 12mm Cine lens. It's one of the cheaper Cine lenses, not like the high dollar ones that Rokinon makes. This is a great all manual lens if you do a lot of handheld video shooting with Sony. This is a good one to pick up. Also, along those same lines, is this one here. Oops. This one here, this is the Samyang 35mm. Samyang, if you didn't know, is the same company as Rokinon. They just produce lenses under different names for some odd reason. I don't know if that's China for you. But this is a 35mm Cine lens, and this one has a maximum aperture of T1.5. Won't get into the difference between T and F as far as aperture goes in this video, but just so you know, T1.5 is a pretty wide aperture. Moving on, we've got a wide angle lens. This one is the Tokina 11-16 f2.8. This is a Tokina lens, but it's got a Canon mount. So I use it quite a bit on my Canon camera, which we'll get to shortly. This one's great for just obviously wide shots, but also night photography, star photography, things like that. Switching arms because this camera is heavy. This is a Tamron 70-200 f2.8. No, it's not the G2. In fact, I bought this like the day before the G2 was announced. I probably should have done a little more research, but that's okay. This is still served to be a very good lens, great autofocus even on the Canon, nice focal length. Great lens, I love it. All right, so for all you young bucks out there, these next few items on the shelf, they're known as film cameras. And I'm gonna tell you about them, but I'm gonna put the camera down because I'm seriously getting too sweaty holding this thing up. So we're gonna sit down for a little bit. Much better. All right, so this first camera here, this is called the, what was it called? It's the Kodak Instamatic 100. Now, I'm not sure when this was originally created. I'm sure I'll throw up a date on here somewhere. But this was a pretty cool concept for just kind of a cheap point and shoot camera back in the day. And the real cool thing about this, and it didn't have any AAA batteries to show you how it works, but it comes with these little bulbs, and there's more bulbs here. You'll notice some of these, like this one has a blue tint to it, these are more white. It's to affect the color temperature of the flash. These are little flash bulbs, and they were one-time use bulbs. So if you had 4 of these bulbs, you get 4 flashes, and that's it. You pop it in here, like so, turn it on, and when you hit the shutter button, this thing actually like pops and even smokes a little bit, but it creates a super bright flash. Pretty cool concept for a camera, obviously not very efficient for today's standards, but just kind of a cool little timepiece. Next up, we've got a Canon AE1, and this one again comes from, I think, the 1970s or so was when it was originally released. From what I understand, this camera put Canon on the map. This was one of the most widely purchased film cameras of its time. This thing's built like a tank. I'm pretty sure I still have some film in here. Actually, most of these cameras I've shot some photos on and just never gotten through the roll to develop it. So it may be interesting in a year from now if I finally finish the roll to get it developed and see what was actually on here. Moving on, we have the Pentax MX. Now, fun fact about the Pentax MX, if there are any Stranger Things fans out there, this is the camera that Jonathan uses in the show when he's taking his pictures. Now, it's a common misconception that it's the Pentax K1000, I think it was, that they used, but actually it's this one. It's the Pentax MX. Found this one, I think, on eBay because I was a big Stranger Things fan, and I wanted to have the camera that he used. Did a little research, found out this was the one it was, found it on eBay, now I own it. Moving on to some more sentimental pieces. This is actually a camera that my grandparents owned. This is the Kodak Retina 3C. Now, unfortunately, from what I can tell, this camera doesn't work. You can wind it up, crank it here, press the button, but the shutter, oh wait, sorry, wrong button. You can hear, it makes a click, but the shutter or the aperture or whatever doesn't open up. So I'm pretty sure this is broken. I haven't shot any film on it. One day it'd be cool to restore it and see if I can actually get a roll out of it. But this is just a pretty cool camera. To close this thing here, pushing these buttons, bloop. There you go. And this is the final piece of my film camera collection. This is the Miranda Autosensor X something. I think it was Autosensor X EE. It's got a kind of a date covering the thing there. This camera was also owned by my grandparents, released in the 70s or so, somewhere around in there, and I may still have some film in here, so I might be ruining the film when I show you this, but it has a top prism unit that if you press this little button, where's it? There you go, it actually slides off. So you can look, see if I can do this here. I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but if you look in here, you can actually see, let me see if I can focus, hold on. You can see me, or you should be able to see me. I don't know how it's focusing, but you can actually look in and see what's coming through the lens. And I actually took some really cool pictures aiming down into the viewfinder here, and I'll pop a couple of them on the screen here. I'm not really sure what the purpose is for allowing you to take off the top little prism unit. I assume it's to maybe be able to put on different types of prisms here for different purposes. I don't know. But anyway, I have shot some film on this and they come out really cool. They've got kind of that old vintagey look to them. So very cool camera, also built like a tank. This one's gonna stay on the shelf for a while. This isn't a camera, but this is kind of part of the collection up on the shelf there. This is basically a rangefinder, so an old school rangefinder. And I think the way that it works, if I'm not mistaken, I forget, but you basically look through one end and then you turn this little dial until the pictures kind of line up. And then you're able to look at this little wheel and get a reading based on how far your subject is. So if I'm trying to find the camera here, let's see, am I doing it the right way? I don't know. But if I needed to, if I spent some time to tweak it a little bit, I could find out exactly how far the camera is from me, and then that would help me to be able to focus the film camera. And finally, we have my workhorse. This is my Canon 7D Mark II. This was like my first pro or semi-pro camera that I purchased. Actually, my first DSLR was a Canon T3i, and that did me well for a while, but when I started doing more professional kinds of things, it was time to upgrade, and this was the camera that I chose. It's great for sports photography, nice frame rate. It is an APS-C crop sensor camera. I've got a Sigma 24 to 70 millimeter lens on it currently with a f2.8 aperture. Don't do a whole lot of video on this anymore. The A6500. The A6500 that I'm filming on now is the one that I do most of my video on, although I do use this as a second camera from time to time. But for most other things, whether it's food photography, event photography, sports photography, I'm definitely using this one. Bonus item. All right, so this is from the top shelf. We're just gonna make a quick exception here. I actually bought this on Amazon or something like that for maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks, something like that. It's just a giant chunk of glass, but you've probably seen some photography of people looking through it and taking some cool pictures through it. I haven't done anything with it yet. Maybe that's what I'll do for one of my vlogs this month or sometime in the future. This thing's heavy though. But yeah, cool little crystal ball for some creative photography projects. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this edition of What's on Ryan's Shelf. Thanks for watching. If you did enjoy what you saw, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and we'll see you in tomorrow's vlog. Goodbye.